Hello and welcome to the RWBY podcast. Happy Father's Day, everyone. I am your lovely host, the incomparable Mediocrity 4.
And I am here along for the ride talking about one of my favorite things from RWBY, the soundtracks. That is, I am Dude, Why Does Blake Suck? Dude, what the heck?
Yes, today we are talking about the first two soundtracks for RWBY, the Volume 1 and Volume 2 soundtracks. We'll have another podcast in a few days talking about Volumes 3 and 4, and we'll probably have more people on because it won't be Father's Day, and won't be as much of a skeleton crew. It's just the two of us. Maybe someone will join in, maybe they won't. Anyway, so guess we should start with like how important soundtracks are in general, maybe.
Yeah, especially for RWBY, I think. Like, it depends on the show or the movie or whatever. But I mean, I'd say RWBY definitely the soundtrack is way more important than average. Like Avatar: The Last Airbender, like the score is important, but it's nothing like how important RWBY's soundtrack is to RWBY, if that makes
Well,
sense.
yeah, and score. I kind of classify score as something else.
Yeah, it's true. We're mostly talking about the soundtrack to the score, because
Yeah, score is meant to heighten a scene. Like a score, unless it's like, well, I mean, even then, it's a score is meant to is a score is not really meant to be listened to on its own. It's meant to be listened to in conjunction with the visuals because it's supposed to complement it. Uh, a movie that does it really good, you won't even notice the score half the time, but then the scene will feel like empty without it. Like one of
yeah,
the movies that comes to my mind is like Saving Private Ryan. Like if you were to tell me to hum the score of Saving Private Ryan, I wouldn't be able to do it. But I can't imagine that movie without John Williams' score in that movie. Uh, and then you also got your fanfare scores like Indiana Jones, Superman, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and those are a little more better to listen to on their own, because they're meant to be like these magnum opus themes anyway. And there's a little bit of that with RWBY with the Atlesian March that was in Volume 2. That's a really good like bit of score. But yeah, the soundtracks though, on the whole, like I think we agree with this. They're kind of canon.
yep. We us two definitely agree on this.
The thing is, they're not canon plot wise. They're canon character wise,
Yeah,
which for RWBY is more important because let's face it, plot is not RWBY's strong point. Its strong point, or one of its stronger points, probably its strongest point, is the characters. The
which you and
characters
I
are
have
the
talked
reason why
about
we
before.
the characters are the reason why we watch. And
What did we say? Like that RWBY's best scenes have been like one-on-one character moments and things like that.
yeah, yeah,
That's what
yeah,
actually that was
like
the
in
thing.
burning the
That
candle
is what
and
RWBY actually not
Kudo
only does
Yuri.
well. Yeah, it's not only does RWBY do that well. That's actually one of the things they do better than a lot of other bigger, more popular shows.
Yeah, like
Honestly, and
whatever.
actually they also handle romance really well, to be honest.
Yeah, whatever
Which falls in that
faults
category.
whatever faults Miles and Carrie have as writers, they get people. They understand how people work, and
Yes. Mm-hmm.
a lot of credit
Except for
also
Blake.
a lot of credit goes to the voice actors as well because if you were to just read the dialogue, especially in Volume 1, the dialogue is like really hokey and stilted, but the way it's
Yeah.
delivered and stuff, it actually feels natural. Like they convince you, it's very convincing, and
Yeah.
the score kind of does that too because kind of on its own, these songs are like all good, but I mean they're not like gonna go down as classics or anything.
Yeah, I mean they're all meant to serve a purpose, Why do you think so many of them are all super heavy rock songs, even though Jeff has the ability to write other types of music? You know? He
Yeah, because
definitely
it's an
has.
action show.
Yeah, it's an action show. So of course most of the songs are gonna be in a certain style, even though he definitely has the ability to write other things. So um and the soundtrack is definitely, to me, it's very much like Chibi in that it's more canon than Chibi, first of all. but it's like Chibi in that it achieves its goal better than the show does. Also, to be honest,
Yeah, because
because
what they do is they really, the writers and producers and stuff, they have this they have a really good dialogue with Jeff Williams, who writes all the music. Uh, and they really explain to him the characters and what they're going through and where they're coming from, and he's able to write around that, which is why probably like 90 to 95% of these songs are all like internal monologues, or one song's case internal dialogue. That's, yeah, we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But like me and Kitty Kirishima were talking about this a couple days ago. That it's there's kind of this weird balance that Jeff Williams does, and it's not necessarily a great balance, but he's an indie rocker. Like, he's not going to be like selling out Riverport here. Riverport is like the biggest amphitheater concert venue in my area.
Okay. That's in Missouri. I mean,
Yeah.
I have the Honda Center and the Greek Theater.
He's
and
probably not, well,
the Hollywood
actually,
Bowl and all this.
I would say I would
to
say
use something for that other people might know. Like,
yeah, I would say he wouldn't sell out Madison Square Garden, but if you're big enough to play at Madison Square Garden, you'll sell out Madison Square Garden, even if half those people don't even know who the heck you are. Because that's just how New York works.
I mean, I've seen the footages of the concerts that they do. I mean, he's selling out big places, like over 500 people, and I know that there's more people that wanted to go.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a good enough musician to sell out bigger places depending on what he wants to do.
Yeah, but the
I think
point
he used to be in bands.
The point I was building towards was he's got like indie rock level production, but he's a little more ambitious than your typical neck-bearded hipster indie rocker. And it doesn't like gel. It doesn't gel all the time, which leads to some like low quality production values on some of the songs. But I only notice it because I've dabbled into music production for
the biggest example for me is that there's two big examples. I'm a drummer, and sometimes the drum parts do not match well. Like, there's some really weird ass drum fills. I don't know who's the drummer for them in the recordings. But
as far as I know, Jeff Williams does a lot of the drum work on his own.
So there's definitely
at least in the studio.
Yeah, there's a lot of times with the drumming, like the fills do not match what's going on with everything else, and it sounds weird as fuck. That's only a few times. And then the biggest example for me is why was Volume 3 soundtrack mastered at such a lower volume than the other three? It's by far quieter than the other ones. And I've noticed this several times. Like, anytime I'm listening to Volume 3 soundtrack, I have to bump up the volume compared to the other ones. It's really weird.
Yeah, that's a sound mixing thing.
Yeah.
And I noticed it on segue into our first song. This Will Be the Day, which I think is, or up until like a week ago, I thought it was Jeff Williams' best song, even though it kind of does have a lot of his weaknesses. Like, it's not a tightly wound song, but I don't think it's really meant to. It's meant to be like a heavy hard rock ballad, not a heavy metal. But definitely in the vein of like Heart or Def Leppard or one of those bands.
I want to say I disagree just because it's heavier than okay, because the problem with Def Leppard is their ballads are like really, really poppy, actually 80s ballads with just really big snare.
Well, yeah, I mean
this is way faster. Metal. Also, I want to say Heart is poppier in general than this song would be.
The late 80s Heart is. Heart's one of my full disclosure, Heart's one of my all-time favorite bands, and that's who at least Casey Lee Williams, the singer, reminds me of.
Okay, I'll give you that. Yeah.
Reminds me of the singer for Heart, Ann Wilson. But
She's
yeah,
definitely more heart. She's definitely more heart than Fleetwood Mac.
yes, yeah. And heart can get heavy or they can get really poppy. That's kind of one of the things I like about them, and I think Jeff Williams falls into the same category. And there's some freaking lovey-dovey, dopey pop songs in some of these soundtracks.
He's actually really good at those, to be honest. I actually almost sometimes he's better at those than he is at the rock songs. Because my biggest problem overall with the soundtracks is that at times, and especially over time, now that we've been through this many volumes, the rock songs start to blend together too much and sound too similar a lot of the time. For example, if you listen to all of them, all the rock, like the heavier rock songs, I would say that Armed and Ready is actually definitely one of the better ones. But a lot of
until the last minute.
You really don't like that one lyric. You really don't like that one line.
It's not one lyric. It's a verse. It's the whole like last minute of the song. Just
yeah.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that next time. But This Will Be the Day.
It's really good. It's definitely.
It's really good,
I agree.
and it's certainly a hype song. It was the first opening for RWBY, and it's really just meant to get you hyped up for this ambitious little web series that Rooster Teeth had going on.
And if in that vein, it's the most important song he ever wrote because it definitely did that.
And
it was hype when that. It was really hype.
I wish they would bring it back. Like I think I expressed this on one of the podcasts previously. But next time RWBY uses her Silver Eyes, I really want them to do the guitar riff from This Will Be the Day.
Yeah.
But I got the lyrics pulled up here now. They see you as small and helpless. They see you as just a child, surprised when they find out that a warrior would soon run wild. That does fit kind of the tone of the show, and maybe some of the themes with like the fact that RWBY's 15 at the start.
Yeah,
but that is really just, at least to me, it kind of feels more like Rooster Teeth is doing something they've never done before, and very few people have even tried to do, which is a big, epic web series. I mean, the closest thing I can really think of is Bravest Warriors, and they only make an episode every like year or two.
Yeah, so it's not. There's nothing. Yeah, I mean, and I wouldn't count Red versus Blue because it's a machinima.
Yeah, and Red versus Blue is machinimated, and they literally like just make that up as they go.
Yeah.
Which sometimes RWBY feels that way too, but RWBY at least pretends to have an ongoing plot.
It's trying to. That's the point. Yeah. No, I think, and one thing I noticed is that, I mean, the lyrics are more sparse in Volume 1. I don't want to say they're bad because Red Like Roses Part 2 has amazing lyrics, but I would say overall the lyrics are not, if anything, the weakest lyrics are in Volume 1, but I don't want to blame Jeff for that because I want to say that it seems like he didn't have as many details about everything there at that point. When we get into Volume 2, which, spoiler alert, we both agree is the best volumes. It's the best soundtrack by far.
Yeah. For me, it's like just a smidge.
Okay, yeah. And for me, it's also just a smidge because I think Volume 4 is really close. But either way, we agree it's the best one. And you notice there's a lot more specific lyrics starting in Volume 2 overall, if you really look at it. So I think they started to give him more details. Boop being one of the biggest examples, and that's one of the biggest examples of him knowing something that was going to be explained in the future, and he explained it in a song earlier. So that's how you know he was given a lot more information. Whereas in Volume 1, it seems like he's just acting off of some backstory and maybe just a little bit of details that he's giving. Because, like you said, in This Will Be the Day, it's a great song and it hypes up the show very well, but it's not super character specific. It's not even super specific to the show.
Yeah, it's all just like hype. Every single lyric, like "We are lightning straying from the thunder, miracles of ancient wonder." Like every single freaking line is just be hype over and over again.
Yeah, and it worked for what it was, absolutely. But it's not as character intensive as the other. And the same thing with Red Like Roses Part 1, which is interesting. It's that one's almost like a score track that's used as a song. It's in a very interesting way.
Yeah, I think that's as good a segue as any to talk about Red Like Roses Part 1.
Yeah, I think it, and that one again, the lyrics super generic and they don't even necessarily fit that well. I mean, they kind of do, but
Yeah, it doesn't really fit for RWBY. It's more like, at least Part 1 is more like Team RWBY song, and Red Like Roses was the first song that was put in RWBY. It was from the Red trailer, which was the first footage we got for the show. It's supposed to kind of be RWBY's theme, but there's really only like the one lyric that's specific to RWBY, and then it has like a lyric for Weiss, a lyric for Blake, and poor Yang doesn't have any character in Volume 1. All they say is Yellow Beauty burns gold. That's all they freaking have to say about that.
yeah, exactly. There's not much said. Again, that song also very successful. It fit with the action scene very well, and it was a bit more than just a
And that's a song that has a killer drum line.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he gets when he does a really good beat. Like Jeff definitely has a very good sense of rhythm when he gets a good beat.
Yeah, and it also uses violins, which I'm a sucker for violin. I've been listening to like a lot of Antonio Vivaldi lately.
Oh God, good stuff. Yeah,
because I'm a nerd like that.
No, I'm too. I took 3 classical music classes in college, so I'm. It's been a while now because I did them all like freshman and sophomore year, and I'm 25 now. But so I don't remember everything exactly, but I really loved my classical music stuff for sure. So
yeah, I would like to take a classical music class one of these days.
Yeah, it's fun. I took they're classical music history classes actually, so it's just listening to music and analyzing how music was changing over time, all that interesting stuff. Being forced to listen to Gregorian chant, which is kind of interesting, but they spend too much time on it. Anyway, I'm segueing too much.
Yeah.
So Red Like Roses it's kind of like it's kind of just a score, but it's more than just a score, and I think it was done very well for that. So I mean, there's not that much to say because there's not that many lyrics. It fits with the trailer really well. It adds hype.
Yeah, I like that the piano riff that has the do 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 do. I can actually play that on piano. I looked it up and it's really easy. It's like just 2 notes and then a downward scale. Like it's that simple. I could play it on xylophone to my heart's content if I actually owned a xylophone. Which, yeah, I actually do know how to play xylophone pretty well. It's one like that's the instrument I played in high school. It was that and bass drum for marching band. But one other thing I want to say about Red Like Roses is the line about Blake just further proves that there's no reason to hide her identity. Black the Beast descends from shadow. Real subtle there, guys.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's a little bit of back and forth.
Still more subtle than Blake's actual song, which we'll get to in a few minutes.
Which we'll get to actually. So let's. There's not much else to say about Red Like Roses. It's a good song. So let's go to Mirror Mirror Part 1.
Which
again, not a lot of light on the lyrics because these are all
trailers. I don't know. Mirror Mirror might be my favorite trailer song.
Oh, it's definitely my favorite trailer song. For me, it's definitely my favorite trailer song. I mean light on lyrics in that compared to the more modern, the later albums, there's less lyrics. I mean lighter on lyrics in terms of there's just not that many of them. That's what I'm saying. But they're definitely.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it now. Mirror Mirror's a fucking short song, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I meant. They're definitely a bit more. They're more accurate than. And more character specific than some of the other ones in this volume soundtrack, but it sets up like this great like trio of Mirror Mirror songs that the payoff in volume 4 is absolutely incredible. Spoiler alert.
Better than I thought it would be anyway.
That song is one of the best songs he's ever done. The last Mirror Mirror song, the third one.
This Life Is Mine.
This Life Is Mine. Oh my God, that song is so good when you hear the full version. Holy shit, can't wait to talk about that one.
Yeah.
He definitely pays off this whole trio of songs there. And this is the one that starts it. And I would agree, this is the best of the trailer songs. This is another really good example of him being able to kind of blend rock, pop, and sound and score music into one. I think this is a better example of it than Red Like Roses, to be honest, because he gets lyrics in it too. And there's other examples in later volumes too of him doing this really well. But I think that's one of the things that he does so well. And I think that doing a score, blending a score sensibility like violins and some classical elements into this song fits Weiss's persona really well also, which I think is really commendable of Jeff to do that.
Yeah, and the white trailer is arguably the best. I've certainly watched the red trailer more.
Oh yeah.
But as far as visual storytelling, and I'll probably dig into this when I finally get around to doing an honest look at Weiss in like a year.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Also, spoiler alerts: the suit of armor was a Geist.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's something. That's for another podcast. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. It was kind of confirmed in the manga that was a possession type Grim, and then Then we had the Geist
and then fully confirmed in the commentary track.
Yeah. But yeah, Mirror, tell me something. Tell me who's the loneliest of all. It really sets up Weiss as this kind of sheltered, sad character, and then Volume 1 kind of bungled that up a bit.
It really did. Yeah, again, this is an example of Jeff's lyrics telling us, explaining the characters better than the show does at times.
Yeah, and then they tried to bring it home with the last 2 episodes of Volume 1. But by then it was like a little too late, because by that point Weiss was being characterized as like this racist, hateful person.
Yeah, then it didn't make sense to try to do that. Yeah, it was a bit weird.
And then Volume 2, Weiss was just kind of flat, except for like that one scene, that 5 seconds she was in the elevator, and trying to compose herself. Right? Like that's seriously that was one of the best scenes in RWBY, and it's only 5 seconds long.
I know. See, every once in a while they show those flashes of brilliance, but anyway, back to the actual soundtrack. This is a good. This one I think this song gets elevated when you look at the all 3 parts and Weiss as a whole, because I think Weiss has definitely, as of Volume 4, been handled really well. And if you listen to all of Weiss's songs that Jeff has written, it makes this one make more sense. So it's kind of
you really see at least what they tried to do with their character arc. If you listen to them back to back, which I haven't listened to all 3 of them back to back yet. I did listen to the first 2 back to back a couple times when the Volume 3 soundtrack first came out, and by the time we do the podcast for the Volume 3 and 4 soundtrack, I'll have listened to all 3 of them back to back, no breaks.
I need to do that too, but I can tell even now, like, they not only fit together brilliantly, like with all of every place, everywhere she is in each song, like the place that Weiss is at in each song. Not only do the lyrics fit very well, but the music and how each song ends fits unbelievably well. Like
it certainly builds up to a climax, and that climax is fuck you, Dad.
Yeah, and it's great, and he does it well, and also what in fairness helps that is the fact that they did do that well in the show in Volume 4. That helps. Yes, I agree.
It almost makes me wish that, and we kind of expressed this on the podcast when that came up, that I wish that there was a scene in between, like, her being told to do the concert and the concert itself. We didn't get a scene in between there with her. It just went from one to the other. I really wish we would have gotten that scene and maybe have her practice by singing Mirror Mirror Part 1 or Part 2.
I know, that would have been great. Well, one other thing we learned from the soundtrack, and I know we're supposed to have a separate soundtrack. What I learned from the commentary, and again, I know we're supposed to have a separate commentary podcast, but this kind of fits there. They did mention that after Volume 3, they're actually trying to keep themselves on track more with shorter episodes, which I'm very disappointed about. I don't know why they're doing that. Hopefully, they get enough budget to not be doing that anymore. But I know they mentioned that they tried to keep things shorter, so I think some more stuff got cut, and I imagine that something along those lines probably maybe got cut before it even got to bloom as an idea. But I imagine they had some sort of idea for that and just didn't even bring it for flesh it out as much as they should have. Just knowing.
Yeah, I couldn't get Elizabeth Maxwell into the freaking studio, so they had to just completely cut Winter out of the volume.
Yeah, God, I want Winter back so bad. Anyway, so move on to the next one.
Yeah, the next one is From Shadows, which is Blake's theme.
Blake's theme, yeah.
It is also, it's the longest of the trailer songs.
Yep. Wasn't it the longest of the, well, wait, no, was Yang's the longest trailer?
Yeah, Yang's was the longest trailer, but
Blake's had the most in it.
Yeah, well, and the Yellow trailer, the soundtrack for that was like, it was actually all 4 songs smashed together.
Yeah. Which was cool, actually.
Like dance club remixes of the 3 songs, and then it only breaks into I Burn for like the last minute. But yeah, From Shadows. It's Blake's edgelord freaking song.
Yeah, that's the thing. I actually, because I now I grew up with classic rock, and then I got into pop punk and like what I call the Vans Warped Tour scene, which includes stuff like post-hardcore, hardcore, and other stuff
it's certainly something I feel kind of nostalgic for, but at the same time I'm like, oh yeah, 12-year-old me would be going nuts because 12-year-old me was an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to say. So Jeff's music, and Jeff actually likes a lot of modern music too. I think there's like a screamo band that he says he really likes, actually. And a lot of Jeff's music actually, to me, sounds more like a blend of like classic metal, like Iron. Almost, he sounds more like a blend of Iron Maiden and modern post-hardcore music. Like a little bit of like a Day to Remember and stuff like that, to be honest, and like modern screamo and emo bands. That's actually what I think his music sounds like more than Heart, personally, although you add Casey Lee Williams in it, and then you get more of the Heart vibe, obviously. But his music is actually a lot more modern than that. It's very... If you wanted to be very, very critical of his rock music, you would say it's screamo without the screaming. It really very similar to
which I'm completely fine with.
And I'm completely fine with that too.
I'm not a big fan of screamo.
It totally fits the show though. But yeah, this is, and again, I don't get. That's why I put Volume 4 soundtrack well above Volume 1 soundtrack, and it's not necessarily just fault, but I would say that a lot. Again, this song is so like generic emo edgelord Reaper teenage bullshit that I can't take it as seriously as the stuff he does in later volumes lyric-wise. And I don't want to blame him because, again, I don't think he had as many details at this point.
Well, I think he had plenty of details. It's just Blake's whole mess is a mess.
Yeah, I mean,
some asshole made a video about it.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, it's the guy who's in this podcast that isn't talking right at this moment. And it's a great video. You should watch it. I agree with it entirely.
Yeah, an honest look at Blake Belladonna. Even Jake One Man Band likes it, and yeah.
And us two don't agree with him on a lot of things, but we all 3 agree on that point. And she's just she's an emo punk ass SJW. That's what Blake is.
In this song, this is almost like From Shadows Part 1, and honestly, they kind of do the same thing with the Volume 4 soundtrack. They kind of do the same thing with Weiss as they do They kind of do the same thing with Blake as they do with Weiss. They just didn't have that middle ground there, or I guess, what's the like Morning Follows Night is like the middle song. It's the Mirror Mirror Part 2 of Blake's story, and we have yet to see the triumphant in her case.
Yeah.
In her case, it'll be "Fuck You, Adam."
I think the problem I have with this song is that they're trying to make Blake a more complex character
than she actually is.
Than she actually is, and really all she is this song, which is kind of sad.
I don't even think she's really the song. Like, looking at the lyrics, this is more Adam's song.
This is more Adam's song than hers, and no, not Adam's song by Blink-182. It's about a kid committing suicide.
Oh my goodness.
Which I mean, it's just kind of similar, emo Blake. But see, the thing is, the song, the biggest problem I have with this song is that it's more Adam's song, and it's used as Blake's song, but the lyrics, the lyrics that Casey sings are still her trying to explain this horrible life she's had, and then Volume 4 fucks that in the ass because she has this great loving family.
The second verse: born with no life, into subjugation, treated like a worthless animal, stripped of all rights, just a lesser being, crushed by cruel, ruthless human rule.
Her dad's the ruler on the island that she lives. For fuck's sake!
I completely buy Adam singing that, and
yes,
that was I believe that was Jeff's line. I believe Jeff sung that line, and it is kind of like a duet, and it does feel like
he sang "Born with No Life, into subjugation, treated like a worthless animal." She sang "Stripped of all rights, just a lesser being, crushed by cruel, ruthless human rule." Although I think they might have both sang the last line.
Yeah, because it does feel like
"Stripped of all rights, just a lesser being" is fucking bullshit.
Yeah, it does feel like a duet with Adam and Blake, and both Jeff and Casey singing the song, and
yes, they do.
Obviously, like, Casey would be singing Blake's parts, and Jeff would be singing Adam's part.
I mean, you remember this, Mia. Do you remember when I said when we first watched the trailer for Volume 4, and I was like, why the fuck does Blake have parents? I have a massive problem with Blake having parents. Was I right or was I right?
Yeah,
I was right. Okay, I was totally right.
I'm just not sure you actually said that.
I did. I said that was one of the first things I said.
Well, this would have been back in the Facebook chat room.
Exactly.
Days.
It's back before we even did a podcast.
Yeah, it was back before Discord.
Trust me.
So
I remember calling this. I totally.
I remember being like, okay, what? I had the same problem, and I expressed that problem in my first couple reviews in our first podcast.
Yeah. I love Callie as a character by herself. She's fucking hilarious.
Oh god,
great.
yes, Callie is best girl.
Everybody loves Callie, and so like that's kind of the one reason why I don't bitch about it more, because Callie's amazing. But really there's a problem with Blake having parents, and the song makes no sense in that
well, I mean, it still makes it, again, like 12-year-old me would be.
For Adam, it does. It does make sense for Adam.
And it makes sense if you take it. It makes sense if you take it from the perspective of two angsty teens.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
At least one of which, like, straight up ran away from her parents when she was like 12. So, like...
So anyways, let's move on from this before we bitch about Blake even more, because I think we've spent as much time on that song as we have on the other first three, because we're just bitching about Blake. Which, if you know us two, then that's kind of what we do.
Yeah,
We're right, because she's the worst character in the show.
So next is... on the soundtrack, I don't know why this is actually on the soundtrack as its own track, the I Burn trailer version. Which, as we already said, it's just dance club remix of the first part of Red Like Roses, the first part of Mirror Mirror, and the first part of From Shadows, and then at the very end it does the chorus for I Burn. And it's kind of weird that the full version of I Burn is not the next song on the soundtrack after it.
Yes, I found that weird too. But
Yeah, because the next song on the soundtrack is Gold, which we'll talk about next. But
yeah, we'll
let's talk about
next.
I Burn because this is a goofy song and I kind of like it for it.
I was literally about to say the same thing. It kind of doesn't make sense, but it's kind of awesome.
Oh, it makes perfect sense. It's just freaking cartoony.
I mean, musically, it doesn't really make sense. Like the lyrics make sense. I mean, it's confusing in that it's got a pop beat and it's got but heavy guitars and really like loud, like rock like vocals from Casey, and then a rap track. But it all kind of works, and I actually kind of like this song. Like, I don't like it the most as a trailer song, but it's one of my favorite songs from this. I think it's my third favorite song on this vault. If you like take the non-trailer version, it's my third favorite song in this soundtrack. Just because it's kind of fun. Like, it's cool.
Yeah, I just love how cartoonish shit is.
Yeah.
So like Lamar Hall, the rapper, his verse, like, so apparently apparently Marvel Comics is a thing in RWBY.
Yes, apparently it is.
Human Torch can't mess with me. Johnny Blaze, Suspect B.
No, Human Torch can't fuck with me. If you
I read the clean version. I'm on the wiki looking at the lyrics. It has both versions right next to each other.
Okay, I'm on the Lyric Genius site or whatever you call it, which has like all of the stuff. It's the one I always use. But yeah, no, it's I don't know. It's not, again. This one's it's. I think this fits with Yang because the song has a lot of attitude, which she definitely has a lot of attitude in the trailer and in the show in general, for sure. And it was very self-confident, almost cocky, but she's able to back that up with the way she works. So, and the yellow beauty burns thing, like it fits with that, and it fits with her semblance and everything like that. Like yeah. I burn fits.
There's a meme. I'm pretty sure this meme came out like right after the yellow trailer, where it's like, red trailer, I have a dead parent that haunts my dreams, and I'm destined to follow the same path even if it kills me. White trailer, I'm lonely and all I have is my own reflection. Black trailer, I've been like subjugated and ridiculed and treated like an animal. Yellow trailer, I'm gonna kick his ass, I'm gonna kick her ass, I'm gonna kick your ass, I'm gonna kick my own ass. Like, that's true. It's a huge tone shift from what the previous songs were. It's much more in line with like what This Will Be the Day and what a lot of other like battle tracks would end up being, and which is why I think this is the best kind of like battle track, at least in Volume 1.
Oh, also Dragon Ball Z is a thing. Dragon Ball.
Oh yeah, they make a Super Saiyan reference.
They make a Super Saiyan reference, which I hate Dragon Ball Z, but I actually really like that reference.
See, I'm more like mixed to positive on Dragon Ball Z, and I kind of find the reference really corny.
But the song's kind of corny, like you said, so it works. So that's why I think it works. Like I like it because it's corny. But yeah, the song. When
Skeletor and Starscream and Mojo Jojo are three of my all-time favorite cartoon villains.
Oh my God, Mojo Jojo.
I'm not really a credible judge on what's stupid or not.
Dude, let's be honest. Mojo Jojo is fucking amazing. I love Mojo Jojo. You can't not like that guy. He's the fucking best. He made that show. Honestly, him and Buttercup.
Yeah, and I think I mostly like Skeletor because I could actually do his voice.
I didn't even watch that show, but I know who Skeletor is just because of all the fucking Skeletor memes. Anyway, this song.
You mean like all the Skeletor memes I use in my videos?
Yeah, pretty much.
Or I guess it's just the one that articulate.
There's also an animation review that I watch on YouTube. That's why. But anyways, the song is cheesy and it's corny, but it works for Yang's character, I think. So I like it. Like I still think the White Trailer one is better as a trailer song, but as a song by itself, I think I like this one better than the White Trailer song. If you judging them,
yeah, I don't agree. Like I Burn is like kind of middle of the soundtrack ranking for me.
It's fun. Because
overall.
largely because I think Mirror Mirror jumps up massively when you judge it with the other two Mirror Mirror songs. That's why for me. But anyways, I think we can move on to Gold then, right?
Yes, Gold, the Enabler song.
The Enabler song, yes. This is my least favorite song on this soundtrack.
It is. Nope, there's two songs I like even less. There's three songs I like even less.
Really?
I like this song more than I like from. I like this song more than I like from Shadows.
Just musically, I don't care for the song personally. It's just a generic.
Yeah, it's a very poppy song, and in fact, I think. Yeah, I have it like just a notch above Bumblebee on my rankings.
See, I like Bumblebee way more than this song. Just musically wise, just nothing to do with the ship. Musically, Bumblebee is a super fun song, and I will argue that to the death on the next podcast.
Yeah, this is one of those songs that like the fan fiction community really like latched onto. I've read a lot of I've read a lot of fan fictions where like this is the melody that Summer would sing to Yang and RWBY when she was like putting them to sleep, or that like it even though this is one of the few songs that like it doesn't have a definitive meaning, it really like lends itself to the Rose family dynamic.
Oh yeah, there's a line like the smell of a rose on a summer's day. Jeez.
Yeah, I will burn like the sun. I will keep you safe and warm.
Like the smell of a rose on a summer's day. Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious what this is about. Like, I mean, those fan fiction writers, to their credit, like, you know what this is about. It's not. No, I'm not saying it's romantic, but I mean, like, it's the song about Yang taking care of RWBY, being like the surrogate mother kind of character.
Yeah, which is the one character trait they actually like nailed in Volume 1.
Yep, it's one of the very few things they definitely nailed in Volume 1, which I approve of. Although it made no sense that she tried to run off with those faceless generic friends, and then she's all motherly to the rest of the volume.
That was a because plot thing.
Yeah, that was a because plot thing, but
because RWBY has to meet Weiss and Blake, and Yang can't be there to defend her.
And it's Volume 1, and they don't know how to make things happen while making sense at the same time. They just can't do that yet. But I think musically, this is one of my least favorite songs. Lyrically, it's actually pretty good, and it fits with Yang in Volume 1, besides that one moment, very well, I think. It is a very sweet song.
Yeah, it's got a very, like, Disney vibe, almost.
It does have a very Disney, but like a Disney dance song vibe, kind of.
Yeah. But yeah, it's basically, like, just almost like a lullaby, but not in a minor key like lullabies are.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
like it's the kind of song that like Julie Andrews would be dancing around a fountain singing to a bunch of kids or something like that. I don't know.
It kind of is, just with a more straightforward pop beat, which is actually my least favorite thing about it. I don't think the song fits with the beat he gave it, and that's one of my biggest problems with it. Why I can't get over it. So that's why I don't love it that much. It's like I'll listen to it. I don't always skip it. Like I have a big RWBY playlist for all like the soundtrack songs on my iPod that I listen to a lot of the times when I'm driving around. My job is sales, so I have to drive like crazy far. So I don't skip this one, but
also I think this is one of the better examples of Casey Lou Williams being a good singer.
Oh, I agree with that. That I definitely agree with.
But don't you worry about the dark. I will light up the night with the love in my heart, which isn't a rhyme, but it flows well still.
It flows well, so it's okay.
I mean, not all like the sun, I will keep you safe and warm. Like the smell of a rose on a summer's day, I will be there to take all your fears away. With the touch of my hand, I will turn your life to gold. Oh my goodness, no wonder Enabler is such a big thing.
Yeah, I know, this is great. But, I mean, without that, like, it does fit. Like, she had to be a surrogate mother for RWBY, and they did a decent job of showing Yang doing that, but this gives a lot of, this adds to that very well, which is, why I give Jeff a lot of credit. I think he does an amazing job of supplementing what actually happens in the show. He does a better. Here's the problem I have with this is another. So back to something else we can hate on that I love to that we both that two idiots made a podcast about is how bad World of Remnants are, and I feel like Jeff's soundtrack does a better job of supplementing the show than fucking World of Remnant does. And this song, even though it's not one of my favorite songs, lyrically it does do a good job of that.
Yeah, I kind of have the same feeling about like John Williams' score for the Star Wars prequels. There's a version, I can't remember like what it's actually called or where it is, but it's like a 70-minute long version of Star Wars that's like a silent film. No dialogue, just the visuals and John Williams' score, and it's like...
Oh, is it the scene where they're like looking at each other from two different buildings?
Well, yeah, it has that, but no, it's the whole like thing.
Okay.
It's all of Star Wars, which just and it's like 70 minutes long.
Gotcha.
I need to find that, maybe post a link
John
on
Williams
Facebook.
Is fucking amazing. Although, in fairness, not to be a loser, but one of my favorite John Williams things is still the Harry Potter theme song.
Oh yeah, I was actually listening to that the other day.
That thing is honestly fucking genius. Like that.
Oh man,
like that,
I remember.
Like,
I was
good. It's so good.
I was so happy when I learned how to play that on bells.
Yeah.
The ding 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 ding. That's bells, which are basically like a metallic xylophone.
Yeah. I mean, it fits so perfectly. Like, it's so good. It's so fucking good. It's such a simple, but it has that ethereal, like, kind of magical sound to it. And I mean, I don't think it was originally even supposed to be the theme song for the movies, and it just ended up being it. Like, it's so good. Anyway, let's not.
Yeah, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is why this is the RWBY and Beyond podcast.
Yeah, podcast exactly. Because we can't help but talk about things like John Williams and J.K. Simmons. You know, it's just always has to come up.
Want me to blow all your all's minds?
Yep.
Think of Red Like Roses. The line about Yang. Mm-hmm. I burn gold. The two Yang songs, right next to each other. Yeah. I burn gold.
Yeah.
And it's the two aspects of Yang's personality. See, the soundtrack does a way better job at like characterizing Yang than Volume 1 actually did.
Yep, I know that's one of the things they actually got right.
Yeah, because I Burn is her like party song or her fight song.
Her motherly song.
Her fight song, and then Gold is more like her motherly nature and how affectionate she is to RWBY and really the rest of her team. Like I always thought that she really was the big sister to everyone, which. Yeah. We don't, and this is something that frustrates me.
She's the same age as she's the same age as two of them, but it feels like she's not.
The thing that frustrates me is that we don't have official ages for anyone. Like we have an age range. Like we know that RWBY starts off at 15 and she's 16 now, and everyone else was 17 and they're all 18 now. But we don't have like birthdays. We don't know who exactly is older, but I like to think that Yang is older than, like, the rest of the gang, even if it's just by a few months. I like to think that.
Well, this is partly why I feel like this is why a lot of times books end up make better movies than original movie ideas, because good books have all these details in them. You know, like Harry Potter has I don't know if they have exactly everybody's birthday, but they do talk about things like that. Like they do give you Harry's birthday, and
for RWBY
a lot of people's birthdays. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for RWBY I made birthdays for everyone. And I actually wrote it down, like birthdays for all the major characters.
Yeah, it makes sense. So you need to have stuff like that. So anyway.
Yeah, so, I was about to go on a tangent on like why most movies tend to be based on books, because it's always been like that since the invention of film, and it really boils down to books are easier to publish.
Yeah. So, That's why I want to write books, not make a movie. So again, this is one of my least favorite songs from the volume, and it's still better. It still does a great job of characterizing Yang, and it's still a good song. Like, so I mean, like honestly, like not to be a dick, but RWBY as a show has no business deserving Jeff Williams. To be honest, like that's kind of it's going to end up being the main point of this whole of these two podcasts is that Jeff is better than the rest of the RWBY crew. Except for some of the voice actors, he does a great job of doing all these things, like these clever things, like what you just told us that I had no idea. Like I didn't even notice that before. So, you know, he really does a good job with things like that. So let's go on to
I May Fall.
Yeah, which is another. This is one of my least favorite ones too from this volume. Also.
Same, and especially now that it's like,
especially what they turned it into in later volumes.
Yeah, now it's Velvet Song for no reason.
Yeah, and I have no idea why it doesn't fit there at all whatsoever. Also, I just saw the funniest fucking Attack on Titan meme ever.
Oh goodness.
It's Mikasa saying, "I love you, Aaron." And I love
you. Yeah. I saw that too. I saw that earlier today.
Attack on Titan spoilers, by the way. Yeah, there's
a such thing as Attack on Titan spoilers. I thought it was like just so predictable that we already knew everything that's gonna happen.
Somebody told me that I haven't even watched this season.
I'm gonna get flack for that.
Oh, there's a scene where they look like they're gonna kiss and they don't. I'm like, yeah, no shit, of course because it's one of those typical animes where they don't want to do romance, even though they hint at it the whole time and they never fucking do it. Which is one of the things I really appreciate about RWBY, at least touching on that stuff more than.
That was actually one of the things that, like, before I go any further, Sword Art Online is a garbage show. But there are some things it does right, and one of the things it does right is the relationship of Kirito and Asuna. Sometimes, when they're like hanging out in their cabin, it's a good little couple episodes.
I mean, it's one of my biggest problems I have with anime is that they clearly show they tease romance worse than even like shitty sitcoms do. It's so infuriating.
Oh,
and then they never do anything with it ever, and I hate
the thing
that.
is, when they do, and Naruto is a perfect example of why a lot of like writers don't like make a ship canon until the very end.
Yeah.
Because oh my goodness, Masahi Kishimoto was getting death threats from Narusaku fans after the last chapter of Naruto. Like the Naruto Sakura shippers were like freaking going ballistic.
Yeah, like the show that I watched, they actually address the romantic feelings and they have it happen at the end of the show, sure, but it's only a 1-season show, so it's not like they're actually cock teasing you like crazy. So I hate that about.
Yeah, and like My Hero Academia,
we didn't actually fall into that trap, like they don't have characters make out yet, but like they definitely address all of this, which I appreciate. You know. Anyway, that's for
like My Hero Academia. Deku and Ochako Uraraka are going to get together by the end, but there are a lot of people who ship like Uraraka with Bakugo for some reason, or ship Deku with Asui, and those people are not going to be happy when Deku inevitably ends up with Uraraka. And so they're gonna like tease that ship as long as they can until they like literally can't do anything else except make it canon.
Yeah.
Jesus, we went way off track. This is how this is not just us. This is just how boring I May Fall is as a song.
Yeah, it's a decent rock song, but it's a perfect case in point of just a generic rock song that.
Like, I may fall, but not like this. It won't be by your hand.
So I think we don't have to talk about it anymore. Let's move on to the next one.
Also, next one is.
Check out the meme I just posted in podcast. It's funny. You'll like it. which is basically just a
Yeah.
joke that they didn't chibi, but I still find it funny.
Next is Red Like Roses Part 2.
The other best song on this
Yes.
soundtrack.
Ooh.
This song
is
I think,
deep.
okay,
This song is emotional. This song is but it like when Lindsay Jones, Ruby's voice actress, has to get into character, this is what she listens to and cries herself into being Ruby.
Into character, yeah, and she cries herself into character with this song, and I can.
It's oh my goodness, it's so good.
This one's mine, no question.
Yeah.
This one's my favorite. I think, and it's like if you take everything together, the lyrics with the music together, this is the best one.
Yeah. There's also there's a version where it's Red Like Roses Part 1 and 2 with the guitar riff from the Players and Pieces fight as like a bridge to it, and it's like 9 minutes long, and it is glorious.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a duet between Ruby and her totally dead mother.
Yeah.
Like this is the thing. Like, I have military friends, and I have friends who have lost people in the military, and I've showed them this song, and like this really hits home with people who have lost loved ones in the line of duty.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's almost another one where you don't have much to say because this is a hard rock song too, but it's more intense. There's all those like those.
You're cutting out there.
It's super intense. Like this is a more intense song than most of the other rock songs even are, and it fits with the lyrics incredibly well. It's depressing and angry and emo, but in all the right ways, in all the ways emo songs wish to be meaningful. This is actually meaningful. You know, I think that's that's one of the better ways to describe it. And
yeah, I really think that we don't know again, like, because Miles and Carrie absolutely refuse to give a timeline for anything in this fucking show. We don't know how old Ruby was when Summer died. We're told like really young, probably too young to like really understand or get what was going on. But she was definitely old enough to like know the difference, and I think she really just tried finding meaning in Summer's death, and that's one of the things that drove her to do what she does.
Yeah, I mean, this song is so well done. Like,
You cut out there.
You know?
You cut out there.
Oh, sorry. This song is so well done that I would love to see more of this side of RWBY actual show. Like,
yeah, I think it's coming up.
I think it's coming up.
I think as they go further and further into the jaws of death, we're gonna be seeing a lot more of this side of RWBY.
Yeah, I want to see this. Like, I think this is definitely. I love that we have this song for it to always make us think that this is what's always in the back of her mind. Like, this is part of what motivates her positivity and everything, and her motive, and like her drive. And yeah, we don't need to say all the lyrics. Like, just go look up these lyrics. They're depressing but they're really well done, and they fit what her past is so well. So, and it fits, and what you can see this motivating her, and like what you just said, media, that like this motivate her to do what she does now. So yeah, this is one of the best songs Jeff ever did. Even to this day, it's still in my top 5 of RWBY songs. And
yeah, it's in my top 3. It's number 3 on my rankings.
I don't have a full ranking. I just know this is in my top 5. There's definitely a couple from the next one in my top 5 too. I think all my top 5 are this song. I actually don't know if this will be the days anymore, but there's 2 from Volume 2, I think, and at least 2 from Volume 4 on there. So I don't know if there's any from
But
Volume
yeah,
1.
but this song really hits home for me in the second verse, which is by Sandy Williams, which is Jeff's wife, Casey Lee's mother,
Ex-wife.
ex-wife. I did not know that. But yeah, Casey's mother.
Pretty positive it's ex-wife. I'm pretty sure I know that.
Yeah,
I could be
don't
wrong,
know.
but I'm.
This is literally the only thing I know her for.
Yeah, I know.
But you could like see Summer's Ghost like trying, like slamming her hands on the glass, like if you follow my path, you're gonna get yourself killed. No, I don't want this for my baby girl. But at the same time, I want you to be strong and want you to like follow your dreams and be the hero and stuff. But oh man, I really think I really think that Ozpin inadvertently kind of led Summer to her death with the whole like guardian thing.
Oh yeah.
And Ruby's slowly going into that same,
going
down the same
path
path.
of Jean being smarter than people give him credit for, because him being as angry with Crow, him being so much more angry with Crow and Ozpin than everybody else is, like, he's kind of right. So, I think Jean has a point with all of those, with his anger at those two people.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see Jean be a total dick to Oscar. It's gonna make me so happy.
You really hate that kid.
I really do. I hate him more than Blake. I hate him more than. I really hate him.
Yeah, rounding out the original songs in the Volume 1 soundtrack is Wings. Which, in between that on the track listing, we got a remix of I Burn, which it's kind of sounds the same, it just doesn't have the rap part.
Yeah.
And then a remix of From Shadows, which I don't like any of the remixes on any of these soundtracks.
I don't know why they bother with the remixes. I'd rather just not have them. But
it's filler.
It really is very filler. I never seem to enjoy them. I never put any of the remixes on there. The only thing I did was I always use the non-trailer versions for I Burn and From Shadow. That's what I listen to, the non-trailer versions. So I'm glad they included those, but otherwise I don't really care.
But yeah, then rounding out the songs is Wings, which was the end credit song for Volume 1 finale. And it's a funeral ballad. I'm not sure how it fits into the show.
I'm not sure either, so it's not one of my favorites, to be honest. It's what
I kind of made the joke about it a week or so ago that it's a monochrome song. Because there's a verse that's 12 hours is a long night when you're searching with no hope in sight. Weiss makes a jab about 12 hours, and the Volume 1 finale do you know how long we've been looking for you? 12 hours.
Yeah. Which it sounded like it was a much longer. Never mind. Let's not talk about that. Let's not go down that road.
They were only looking for 12 hours. The other 36 hours that Blake was gone, they just kind of didn't care, I guess.
I know. I just said we're not going down that road.
Batman Fall already edited those two lines together. I haven't gotten anything but small talk and dirty looks from you for the last 2 days. 12 hours. 2 days. 12 hours.
Math. What's
again?
The song
they don't have a timeline.
School of Rock song?
Oh my god, I don't know.
Math is a wonderful thing. Math
I don't know. I just know.
Cool thing. That's the song.
And by the way, I'm not just pissing on Miles and saying that oh, he refuses to make it sound. He straight up said that he is refusing to make a timeline for anything. He actually somebody actually asked him a question what was the span of time, and Miles' answer was they don't care to make it. Frustrates me into knowing.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
As somebody who has like fucking 6,000 years worth of lore for my original story, yeah, Miles can go die in a hole for that.
Yeah, no, it's just idiotic. You cannot get away with that.
Yeah, it's a okay funeral song.
It's an okay funeral song.
Guess, or a lullaby. I guess it's more of a lullaby than a funeral song. Cold would be a funeral song.
Either way, it's a decent ballad song, but as far as ballad songs go, there are much better ones later on. Spoiler alert, Home is amazing. So there's better ones later. Home's the best ballad he's done yet. So we'll get to there in the next podcast about the soundtrack. So I mean, it's still a very strong soundtrack overall. I mean, it's my third place one, but it's still very good. It's still really, really good, and it's a better soundtrack than Volume 1 is a Volume. So, and there's a couple amazing songs on it.
Yeah, it's my second favorite soundtrack, just by a smidge.
So let's go on to what is definitely the best soundtrack.
The Volume 2 soundtrack.
Volume 2 soundtrack, which is amazing.
Now, for anybody who watches Mother's Basement, which I cannot recommend his videos enough, as far as opening songs go, the Volume 2 opening is probably the weakest all around. I do plan on eventually doing like an honest look at the openings from both a musical and visual standpoint, but it's a lot of work for something like that.
Yeah, it is. And I would agree with you. It's still a really good song, and it's funny, like
it's in my top 10.
Yeah, exactly. All the opening songs are definitely he makes sure that those are always some of his strongest songs.
Yeah, for me, time to say goodbye just doesn't fit Volume 2 at all.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't.
It would have been better suited for Volume 3.
Yes, agreed. And it's still a very good song. It just doesn't fit as well. So it's the weakest. I agree. It's the weakest of the opening songs, but it's still a really good song on its own.
As far as songs go, I think When It Falls is a little weaker.
If you say again,
When It Falls, the Volume 3 song.
Oh no, I love that one. I love.
But we'll get to that next time. Time to say goodbye. The weakness in the opening is that it doesn't really have anything to do with Volume 2, and the visuals are kind of which really, if I'm really being honest, the visuals of the openings, like Volume 3 and Volume 4, are way better than Volume 1 and 2. Volume 1 has a lot of really good evocative imagery in the very beginning, but those evocative images are from the trailers.
Yeah. Well, the show starts to pick up plot-wise in Volume 3 and 4, let's be honest.
Like, one of my favorite shots in all of RWBY is RWBY kneeling at the grave of Summer Rose.
Yeah.
With, like, Summer's cape in front of her.
Volume 1 and 2 are a metric ton less plot-driven than Volumes 3 and 4, even. You know, and Volumes 3 and 4 aren't perfect. But Volumes 1 and 2 are so much weaker, it's crazy. So that's why it's harder for them to do that. I think it's harder to make it make sense. Like, what would he write for the soundtrack for the Volume 2 opening, right? What's he gonna write? We're about to almost ruin the show with Team Coffee. Like, what the fuck is he gonna write for that?
I mean, they already did that song. It was called Caffeine.
I know, which actually as a song is really fucking good. As a song by itself,
we'll get to that in a few.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, what's he?
But yeah, because Volume 2 on the whole,
Blake's gonna be boring and emo, and then nothing's gonna happen, and then we're gonna almost ruin the show. Get hype for that. Like, what the fuck's he supposed to say in the theme? You know.
True.
With 3 and 4, he had very clear direction to go in. You know, the 3 was shit's about to go down, so it made sense for the Volume 3 opener. And for the Volume 4 opener, like it's trying to rebuild from that which just happened, which also makes sense. So, you know, that's why it's harder. But as a song, this is a really good song overall. It's definitely one of his stronger rock songs, I think.
Yeah, and it does have some good lyrics and stuff in it.
Oh yeah, it does. It's just
that chorus is pretty killer.
Oh, it's really.
Now it's time to say goodbye to the things we loved in the innocence of youth. This is like Casey Lee Williams going like full heart on this chorus, like
yes,
belching out these powerhouse lyrics.
And I love how he adds the strings there too, which I think that's fantastic.
Yeah,
I think that really helps.
Yeah, there's actually a compilation with this song and I May Fall, where it goes from I May Fall to Time to Say Goodbye, and it actually like works really well. Yeah, it
now that you mention that, I could totally see that.
Yeah, this is also one of the more lyrically heavy songs, as far as like just how many lyrics there are.
Yeah.
There's a moment in time. There's no going back. When we're pushed too hard and we won't hold our attack anymore. There's some really good lines in it, and I really like the last like verse. Though we were born to fight and die, sacrificed for one huge lie. Are we heroes keeping peace, or are we weapons pointed at the enemy so someone else can claim a victory? Like, this is what really made me start to think that Ozpin was secretly a manipulative bastard.
Yeah.
Who is just as much at fault as Salem or anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, more Dumbledore vibes from him.
I don't even say Dumbledore. Dumbledore's even better.
That's true, but he's still similar though.
Yeah, I don't know what else there's to say about this song.
Yeah, that's a good song. Yeah, let's just go to the next one, which is Die. Which it's again.
It's a song I would wish to. No, I'm just kidding.
It's a bit more of a generic rock song, but I really like it.
It's really the only. Well, I guess Caffeine and Time to Say Goodbye kind of fits the category too, but the only like real battle track on this album, and I feel like it was made. I would feel like it was made a little later, but it was actually made earlier, as far as I know, because there was that one part of the song inside the painting the town, the mech fight.
Yeah.
And that's why it's track number 2, because it's the second song we actually heard from the soundtrack. And it's.
I think it's one of the stronger generic like rock songs that, like, I think it's really good. Like, just musically, I really like. It's got a lot of good beats to it. I love when it goes when it goes from "It's time to die" and then that guitar riff with that like really fast like the quicker like drum beat there. That's really awesome. I love that. Like, I think it's got a lot to it. It's a bit more complex, and it doesn't just do the same beat. Like, there's a couple rock songs he does that just kind of have the same beat going along the whole time, and this doesn't do that. Like, it's definitely got more thought put into it.
Yeah, and it does flow well with Time to Say Goodbye. Like, they did a really good job at like picking the track order on this album more than any of the other ones.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that helps elevate this album as a whole too. Is like, this is just like with the last soundtrack, we're like, what's it called? I May Fall. Okay, it's just a generic rock song. It's a good generic rock song, but whatever, right? Whereas with Die, it's like, it's a generic rock song, but it's a really good generic rock song, and I like it a lot. You know, that's the difference between, to me, the Volume 1 soundtrack and the Volume 2 soundtrack, and really what separates the Volume 2 soundtrack from all the other soundtracks, because you have some generic rock songs in Volume 3 that's all you remember them as, and like Crow's theme song in Volume 4, which is a decent generic rock song, but that's really all it is at the end of the day. You know, and even that one has the benefit of more specific lyrics, and I still think this is a better song. So I think that's where Volume 2 separates itself as the best soundtrack. Along with the fact that he nails some pop songs coming up, which makes.
Speaking of which, track number 3 is "Shine," which
is the
isn't
dance song.
which, on one hand, I kind of see it as the Team Juniper song.
Yeah, exactly.
Like all four of them together. On the other hand, it's one of the few songs that we know for a fact actually like exists within the world of RWBY.
Yes.
Like exactly. That, This'll Be the Day, and the Mirror Mirror stuff, because Weiss sings it. And I think Boop falls into that line. Like I can't remember. In Burning the Candle, when she has her headphones, I think you could hear Boop being played. I think I might be completely wrong about that.
I'm not sure about that one. We know that RWBY was listening to her own fucking theme song in the first episode of the show.
Yeah, she was listening to "This'll Be the Day."
Yeah, which is hilarious. I actually really like that. I find it funny.
I like the nifty little like attention to detail they did with the clicking of the headphone.
Yeah, that was cool.
And
her rose headphones were dope.
Yeah.
Anyway,
now available in the Rooster Teeth store. At least they were. But yeah, "Shine" it's a pretty good dance song. Like I've straight up danced to this song before.
Yeah, like that's what I was saying. Like what I say, like when he gets a good beat going, like he really gets that right. Like this song has such a great danceable beat to it, and I love the harmonies that they put on this song. I think that's awesome, and you can put it as one of the Pyrrha songs, about one of the Arco songs, and you could also put it as the Team Juniper theme song. Either way, I think it works well. I mean, you can see why the Arcos people are so crazy, because they literally get 2 songs in a row on a soundtrack about Arcos. But I've always interpreted this one as this is definitely an Arcos song, but it works as the Team Juniper theme song also. And this is the one they dance to, so it's definitely very recognizable where they do their dance routine thing in the dance scene. And I just think, I don't know, it's not a ton to say. It's the lyrics definitely make sense from Pyrrha's perspective, which is what they're supposed to, and it's just a great little dance song, and I think it's really cool. I love this. I think another reason why this is the best soundtrack in Volume 2 is that you get some really good rock songs on this one, but these are also his best pop songs he's done. I think. Yeah,
and I mean, this isn't no like Michael Jackson off the wall stuff, but
no, but it's still like it's still nice to have, and he still does a good job of it. Like I mean, if you're making an original soundtrack, like he does a pretty damn good job of it, you know. So
I mean, it's a lot easier to dance to this than it is anything by like Calvin Harris or Sam Smith.
Yeah, exactly. And so I got to give Jeff credit for that. It's a fun song. I love listening to this.
Which is probably why, like, the Rooster Teeth people, they play this song a lot, like on the podcast and stuff. Like,
yeah.
I remember during their extra life stream or whatever, I tuned into like an hour here, an hour there, probably like 3 hours total in the 24-hour stream. But at the very end, they were like blasting and dancing to this song.
Yeah, no,
and that was like just last, what was it, like November?
Yeah.
Like 2 years after the song first debuted?
Yeah, it's a great song, honestly. It really fits very well. It's it's a genuinely just good danceable pop song. So I don't know there's really much else to say on that one. I think we can move on to the next one, which is the even more Arcos-y song. Like, this is the Arcos song. Let's be honest.
It is so much the Arcos song that it is the song that I use for the Arcos transition in my shipping video.
Yeah. And actually, I think this song is even better. This is one of my this is in my top 5 songs. Honestly, I think I love he does the lyrics really well of getting Pierre's point of view, and I just think this is an even better pop song. The chorus is, to me, I might, you might disagree. The chorus is so goddamn catchy on this song. I love this one. This is one of my favorites.
I like it a lot, but for me, it's like just a notch above gold.
Oh, for me, it's like levels above gold.
And for me, it's like it's the music and it's the production of it. It's just kind of meh.
This does have, in fairness, this song does have the worst mistake ever released in a RWBY soundtrack, and that is this garbage drum fill between chorus 1 and verse 2. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking and why he left it in there. It makes no sense. The drum, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, media, but like
I think I do.
It's like it starts like a da, 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 and it just disappears. It goes away. Like it doesn't transition into the next verse properly. So I have a huge problem with that. It pisses me off. I have no idea why I did, especially as a drummer. And I am a semi-professional drummer. It's a secondary job for me, and I have done a lot of paid gigs as a drummer. So I'm not the best, but I know that was a fuck up, and it should not have been included in the.
Yeah, but the only part of the song that I really like adore is the part with Weiss.
The part with Weiss is hilarious.
Yeah. Why don't you forget about that little chicken? Why she don't care about you and she's so uptight? Hey.
And they actually use the
hey from Weiss.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I just think they did a great job calling out, like, actually giving a real doing a real romance song like this, and I think they did a great job. I love the beat. I love the chorus. It's so catchy. And I love that about the song. I'm not even a big Arcos fan. I'm the person that says I'm the one who's always downing on the Arcos people's parade, saying, "Do we actually know that Sean was in love with Pyrrha? Because I don't know if that's true." You know, I'm always saying that, but I still love this song.
Pyrrha loved John. That's all that matters.
Oh yeah, exactly. And this song captures that very well. So.
Yeah. Another thing, like the piano beats, like just really, really simple. It's just doom.
Yeah.
Doom. 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 Doom.
Yeah, it's a simple beat, but it's also very danceable, and it's got a great, like, loud, boisterous, and the chorus pays off. I think, and I don't know, it's got a really good rhythm to it. Also, I think even better than Shine personally. So
yeah, for me, I think this is the weakest song on the soundtrack.
Really, it's funny.
Yeah.
I actually, it's my second or third favorite.
Yeah,
we all know what my favorite one is. Let's be honest.
For my ranking, it is the lowest from Volume 2.
Yeah, and I can see for some people why.
It's still way above several songs from Volume 1, 3 songs from Volume 4, and 3 songs from Volume 3. So.
Yeah, so I mean, that's again examples of why this is the best soundtrack. You know, the worst song for you on it is still well above a bunch of other songs, and it's one of my favorites. Like, we haven't had something that's that different besides this one. The reason why I like this is Shine is the pop groovy song. This is a more R&B-ish groovy song, and I really like that about it. I think that's why I like it so much. So let's move on to Caffeine, which
it's the eye burn of the Volume 2 soundtrack.
Yeah,
it is goofy as all hell.
It's goofy as all hell.
Like, seriously, look at these lyrics. It is some, like, cheesy freaking just pun after pun.
I honestly blame this song for a big part of why people like Team Coffee so much. Because, yes, Team Coffee is garbage. Even though Coco looks like a boss, and I do love her attitude, but they're definitely a pile of hot garbage. But this song is fucking badass. Like, it's cheesy, but it's badass at the same time. And let's be honest, it's really, really hype. Because the first time I watched that scene, like, I didn't notice all the shit that was wrong with it at the end of the Volume 2 finale. Because this song with what happens in the scene, like, it gets you hyped. because this song is so upbeat and like loud and in your face and hype as fuck that it kind of blinds you to all the things they're fucking up in that scene the first time. And then I realized it was a bunch of shit. But still, the song is hype as hell. And this is definitely one of my favorite songs. Definitely my top 10. I'm not sure if it's in my top 5 anymore, but I really love the song by itself. And it works to overpower people's minds and, you know, kind of makes people forget how shitty the scene is because the song is so hype.
Yeah, and just to point out some of the stuff in the song, to guzzle down your Red Bull, you're gonna need a bucket full.
That's like, it's cheesy, but it's hype. So that's what it is.
They name check Otis Redding, which is like just the weirdest fucking reference in any of these, like Super Saiyan and Johnny's Blaze and all that stuff. Otis Redding?
Otis Redding.
A down-home Mississippi blues artist known for his slow melodical songs? What?
That's definitely Jeff just like saying like, I love Otis Redding, I'm gonna put an Otis. He's put Bernard Purdy references in Bernard Purdy reference in his soundtrack.
Well, no, like,
and Bernard Purdy is a drummer famous for the Purdy Shuffle, and which he played on which was most famous on the Steely Dan song Babylon Sisters. So that's a pretty fucking obscure reference too. So
the next line, like Otis Redding, Hard to Handle. There's an Otis Redding song called Hard to Handle, which I haven't listened to recently, but let's just say it's not exactly the kind of song I would expect Caffeine to be invoking.
I think he just likes that he could include the song name. Put it in there.
Add Otis Redding onto the list of real life people that apparently also exist in RWBY, right next to Abraham Lincoln and Richard Nixon.
That's true. Oh my gosh, and those are from the same fucking scene too.
Yep. I am not a crook.
I actually love that they put that in there, to be honest. I think that's funny. But yeah, breaking that train in my presence, genuflect. Like, again, that's just like a bunch of like just hype. Yeah, I'm fucking hype. I'm fucking hype. I'm fucking hype. Like that's really all this song is. But it works for that. It honestly does. And I think without this song, there'd be a lot less resistance to people complaining about coffee. There would be a lot less coffee advocates without this song, and if Coco didn't look so badass, and if people didn't, because without those two things, without this song, and without Coco looking so badass, then people would only like Velvet. Because of this song, and because Coco looks so badass, people like the team as a whole, and that's the bigger problem. I'm okay with people loving their bunny waifu because people inexplicably love a bunch of things, but I kind of love and kind of hate the song because it's a great song by itself and it does its job very well. And the problem is that it did its job too well and it hyped people up for coffee too much.
Yeah, and just to really nail home, because not everybody knows who Otis Redding is, look him up. But just to show you how goofy the song is, let me read you Lamar Hull's verse as straight-faced as I can.
Yeah, that's hard to do.
Yo, listen up, I hope you like it hot. Grab yourself a mug, 'cause I made a fresh pot. Come and get a dose of my kick-ass Java. Fueling your addiction with this thick black lava. We can do an espresso, or the cappuccino way. Sure to get your fix, venti or grande. Sugar, Splenda, equal, maybe sweet and low. Everybody's happy when they hangin' with Joe. Let's go.
Let's also add Starbucks and Splenda and Sweet and Low to things from.
Well, those are like just objects. They're not like.
Venti or Grande are definitely Starbucks references. They have a Starbucks somewhere. Okay.
I like to think it's that RWBY kind of exists in the same world as Shrek.
Dude, Shrek is dope. Let's not get on a tangent about Shrek because I will talk about Shrek for a long time. It's amazing, and Shrek 2 for that matter, because Shrek 2 is also amazing. So yeah, it's a good song. Coffee sucks, but this song is actually pretty awesome. So let's move on to All Our Days.
Which is my favorite song in Volume 2.
Really? This is one of my least favorites.
Yes. This song, man. Just something really just strikes a chord with me.
It's a good ballad song. I just think there's at least one better ballad song on this, or not on this soundtrack. Sorry, Home is to me a better song.
Yeah, not for me, man. I really relate to All Our Days, like growing up with a bunch of younger sisters.
Gotcha.
There's some contention over like who this song is supposed to be for or about. It's a song that Jeff Williams kind of wrote independently of RWBY. He wrote it for his daughter, and then they kind of like just put it into a RWBY soundtrack. Mm-hmm. So for me, that makes it way more personable than like any of the other songs. Aside from maybe like Red Like Roses Part 2. But even then, like Red Like Roses Part 2 is like so specific to RWBY. But yeah, I just totally relate to. A lot of people say it's like Ruby and Yang. Some say it's like RWBY and one of her parents, or Yang and one of her parents. Some people say that it's actually about Penny. Like Penny and her as of yet seen father.
Yeah, I have a problem with that, but whatever. Again, it's not. I just think it's a pretty good ballad, but there's nothing that really super stands out about the song to me personally, so that's why it's not one of my favorites.
No, there's something about it just makes me feel really nostalgic.
It's better than Wings.
Oh, by far.
It's definitely a better song than Wings, so I mean, I give it that for sure, but it's not one of my more favorite songs.
Yeah, and I love that they brought it back when they did with Blake and Gira.
Oh, that I do love. I will definitely. I mean, this is one of my least favorite songs on the best soundtrack. So, it's still good.
And I think they used that same piano riff in the dance scenes when RWBY walked in. I think that's what like caused a lot of people to be like, "Oh, this is about RWBY and Yang," because that's when Yang's going like, "Oh, you look so beautiful," and RWBY's like, "Can I please just get the fuck out of these high heels?"
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not supposed to be able to walk in them, but don't tell the animators in the next episode that.
I know, right?
Yeah, I will cling, I will clutch, I will care for you, I won't turn away. I don't know.
So it's very nostalgic for you. I don't care for it as much. Let's move on to the best song Jeff's ever written.
I don't quite agree with that, but I won't.
It's fucking good.
Argue with
fucking good. Yeah, it's so good, and I don't know. I have a feeling it's I mean, Jeff has said before, at least the Volume 4 soundtrack. Although I really doubt there's a song that would have dethroned this for him. But it's his favorite song from any of the RWBY songs he's done. This is actually Jeff's favorite song specifically. And I hesitate to say that even if it wasn't for my love of Renora, this would still be my favorite song.
This does have the best piano riff.
Yeah,
Jeff Williams has ever done. It's some serious like Scott Joplin ragtime stuff. The do 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 do. Yeah, it's oh what am I to do?
This is like a tour de force of a show tune song, like because that's basically what it is. This is like a show tune song in RWBY, and in my mind, that makes it the most unique song out of all the RWBY songs. Like that's why, I know like everybody who's listened to more than one of the podcasts with me that knows that I adore Renora. But in fairness, this song is a big part of it. And a big part of that is that you get the sense of Nora's love for Ren from this song. What you don't realize is just how ridiculously accurate this was until Volume 4. That's the crazy part about this song and what makes the song even stronger after Volume 4 happened than it already was before Volume 4 happened. That's the craziness. This is a Volume 2 song, and you get the payoff of this song in Volume 4. So, I mean, literally the first lines, never knew a time when you weren't on my side, the one thing I could always count on. Always there for me, you've been my family, even when all other hope was gone. That is that's the part of the song that Jeff puts in the Kurayuri section.
Oh yeah, like this is one of the most lyrically specific songs.
Yeah, and it's
like it has the most lines like taken right out of the show. All of them Nora lines like boop.
Yeah.
This is happening. The
whole Magan. It's the only time we've heard the name Magenhild.
Yeah, which is the name of Nora's hammer. There's another one like come and join me in my castle.
Yep, I'm queen of the castle. It's extremely specific, and not only that, but like I said, you think, okay, so you hear those first lines and you think, okay, yeah, so he's been very important to her. Then you realize, oh, she was a fucking orphan. He literally saved her life, and they were all by themselves, literally just them two, since they were 8 years old. Oh shit, this is very literal. These first lines. Never knew a time when you were by my side. Yeah, she's probably we're guessing 7 to 9 years old when they met. Yeah, she probably doesn't remember what the fuck happened before then. So yeah, she doesn't know a time when he wasn't by her side. The very, very literal. The one thing she could always count on. Well, yeah, since she didn't have a family that she can remember probably, or at least very specifically remember, then yeah, he is the one thing she could always count on. Always there for me, you've been my family. Well, they basically raised each other and helped each other survive to get into Beacon. So yes, that's also literally exactly correct. Even when all other hope was gone, well, yeah, she was going to die if it wasn't for him. So, I mean, it's extremely specific. And I didn't know that those things, I mean, it adds a lot more power to those lyrics when you see Volume 4, which that's one of the cool things. What's one of the things that makes the song so great is that it's Jeff talking about things that are going to happen and being so ridiculously accurate with them. That's one of the things that makes this song so strong. And that's what puts this song above things like Red Like Roses Part 2, because Red Like Roses Part 2, yes, that's a lot of very good specific things, but we don't have those things confirmed the same way that we did with Boop. That's what makes Boop even stronger. And before a while, things that seem so different, like it's the same but still brand new. I can't believe it. When did I start to fall for you? It's very obvious that she's in love with her. A lot of people think they were already a couple. Like, it's very obvious from the show that she's in love with him.
If RWBY were stage played, this would be a song that would play like when Ren and Nora are like talking, and then Ren goes into the bathroom, and then this would be like a non-diegetic inside Nora's head as she's like just screaming about not knowing how to freaking cope with her freaking bundle of emotions she has.
Yeah, and then Ren comes back in right as she finished, and he goes, "Hey, are you okay?" She's like, "Yeah, nothing, I'm fine." That's how it would play out. I'm fine, Ren. Everything's normal. You know, just like that's a chibi kind of. So those lyrics are very specific to what happens, and then of course, another really important point that I actually talked to Jeff Williams about, and I did kind of get a response on this. I've touched on this in the other podcast where the moment where they're in the airship together, Ren and Nora, it's the part that plays is, I think, oh, well, what am I to do? I didn't know that I would fall in love with you. And what to do right now, I haven't got a clue. That's the part that plays when Ren grabs Nora's hand is, I didn't know that I would, grabs her hand, fall in love with you. That's literally how it plays out. And I asked Jeff, is that what you meant to do? And he said, well, basically his answer was, I can't say no, but I can't tell you yes, but yes, essentially was what he said. If I'm paraphrasing a little bit. So that's what he was doing. That's why I consider Renora confirmed. But again, just very specific uses of these lyrics And he's used them when they come back. He used them very well, and that's just the lyrical part. That's not even talking about how amazing the song is instrumentally and musically, which it's like I said, it's a tour de force of a fucking show tune song. It's got horns and it's got the piano, it's got guitar, this really fast upbeat. It's the melody's great. You got the background vocals and everything that fits super well. It's the most unique RWBY song because it's not really a pop song. It's not really a rock song. It's a show tune song, and it's the only one that fits in that category out of all the songs. And it's really well done in terms of that. So I don't know. I love this fucking song so much. Even if I wasn't such a Renora fan, I'd still love this song. That's how musically it's amazing. And rant for now.
Yeah, it does seem to have. Man, I might have to freaking bump it up a few notches. I think you convinced me.
Right? Like there's a lot to it. Like with how so specific he is with these lyrics, it's amazing. Like this is lyrically the most accurate song, and it's the most important song lyrically to the whole series until you get to Volume 4 now, maybe with what's except for No, because I actually kind of say No because this stuff actually happened in the show, whereas the stuff that he's done really well lyrically in Volume 4, the only one that's really comes close is the last Mirror Mirror song, because that actually happened. You also have like Morning Follows Night, except for the problem is that he's doing a better job than the show is. At least with Boop, this is more accurate to the show itself. Whereas the thing that lets down from Morning Follows Night is the writers, not Jeff, unfortunately. But so yeah, lyrically it's amazing. And keep in mind, you can say I'm biased because I love Renora, or you could say the reason why I love Renora so much is because, oh, I don't know, it's one of the best handled. It's an amazing. Their romance has been amazingly well handled. The song is actually really good. The lyrics are very specific and well done. Their development has been done very well. Their episode together is media's second favorite episode. It's one of the best episodes the show's done, period. Like, it's actually going to be canon. Like, that's why I ship it instead of the things that people just speculate about like crazy. So you could also look at it, I like it because it makes sense and it's actually well done, and that's why I like it. Like, I didn't just like them because I thought they were cute together. First 2 volumes of the show before I heard Boop, didn't even give a fuck about them, to be honest. I did not care about them until later, until they actually gave them some more depth. So there's reasons why I like him, not just because, oh, I like him. I'm not that kind of shipper. Like, I don't. That's why the song helps them be good, basically, is what I'm trying to say. That's part of why I like them so much, you know. So that's credit to the song.
Oh my goodness.
Such a good song.
So next is Sacrifice, which I don't like quite as much as Boop, but it is pretty close for me.
It's a really good song, yeah. And again,
it's a villain lullaby. Like, my heart was made for this.
Yeah, that's what makes it so cool. Is it's a villain lullaby song, and it's really cool. Is it starts off like, I love how it starts off like a slow, like 90s grungy rock song, and then it picks up into a more like harder hitting rock song after that. I think is really cool. I love the way he transitions that, and it's a great job of. It's a great example of Jeff, using the music to fit the lyrics very well, which is something a lot of people actually don't do that well these days. So, yeah.
Yeah, like this song, like it just gives me this really creepy vibe of Cinder watching like the heroes, or namely Ozpin sleep, and is like, oh, I cannot wait to fuck up your entire world.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I love the way it opens with just the bass with that like kind of ominous lighter. I don't know if it's a guitar part or like a modified synth or piano part over it.
I think it's a piano.
But it's the deep bass and the drum beat, and then the really creepy high pitched thing. There's no mid tone there, and I think that's really awesome. I love that. I love how there's no guitar in the beat. It really helps set that creepy tone, like you said.
Yeah, and this is, in my opinion, this is the best job at nailing the tone of the song that Casey Lee Williams has ever done.
Yes, Yes, that's also another good
Close
point.
your eyes now, time for dreams. Like just kind of this uh broken lullaby that slowly reveals itself to be this demented villain song.
Yeah.
Uh and it's got some of my favorite lyrics in it too, like uh stars will drop out of the sky, the moon will sadly watch the roses die.
Yeah.
Which just brings out the whole point,
And
like, what happened to the moon?
and the bridge is also just amazing. What if all the plans you made were not worth the price they paid? Even with the lives you stole, you're still no
Oh
closer
yeah, that
to
is
your
like
goal.
that is
That is where the best, like, oh god, that set of lyrics is so fucking good. Again,
yeah, and that is like total. That sealed the deal for me. Like, okay,
yeah,
what did Ozpin do to piss these
yeah.
people
What
off?
exactly? That is like the Ozpin's not as great as some people think. You know what I mean? Let's tear down Ozpin a bit with this. And I love that. I love how it's. I think it's really funny how Jeff's the guy that's done a better job now of giving Ozpin more dimension. Again, Jeff doing a better job than the writers actually. But he's
Yeah,
kind of
and
giving.
the line right before that bridge, the and lies true. Show them gods and deities, blind and keep the people on their knees. Pierce the sky, escape your fate. The more you try, the more you'll just breed hate and lies. Truth will rise, revealed by mirror eyes. I used those two like stanzas as the basis of uh something that happens in RWBY on, where Ruby like decides, you know what, husband, all your secrets and stuff are what got us into this mess. So I'm just gonna talk to the entire world and lay it all on the table for everyone to see.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, paint a huge freaking target on my back and tell all the villains, "Come fight me, bro."
Which is definitely something she would do.
Damn near gets herself killed doing it. It's glorious. I'm really impressed with a lot of the stuff I've done with RWBY on. I'm quite proud of my work.
I still haven't read that through all the way. I read the other one, the shorter one.
Yeah, that just had casually.
That's so good though.
My goodness, we've talked about that like 3 podcasts in a row now.
Dude, it's good. And you said you'd bring it back, right? It's so good.
Yes, yeah, I'm gonna do a sequel for it when I'm done with RWBY on Generations.
Yeah.
Which, for all you listeners out there who read RWBY on Generations, it will be back in like 2 days after, or maybe even sooner. I'll be writing chapter 105 really soon. But anyway, I digress. But
yeah.
Well,
I mean, that's the last song, so I mean, we're kind of at the plugging part anyway, right?
Yeah. You can't have my life. I'm not your sacrifice. You can try, but I'm free, and you won't conquer me. Just what the hell did Ozpin do?
That's what I love about the soundtracks, because it helps us speculate, because it's like, they've told him something. The writers told Jeff stuff for him to be able to say this stuff, because I mean, there's so many times where what he says pays off and it's so accurate to the show. That's why we say the lyrics are basically canon. I mean, and that's why Boop, that they're literally canon. Most of that song is literally canon, not kind of canon, literally. So you kind of think about that with a lot of the other songs like this. Is you got to think, like, really, it makes you think, what did Ozpin do? And that's, at this point in the show, Volume 2, you weren't really thinking about that, really. At this point, like, this song was
I kind of was, because there's that line in Volume 1 where, like, I've done more bad than any man, woman, or child on the planet.
Made more mistakes. Yeah. Again, Shades of Ozpin, or Shades of Dumbledore, sorry.
But yeah, other than that, it's more remixes. There's an acoustic version of "This'll Be the Day," which I like. I dig the acoustic version. I mean, it doesn't really fit with the lyrics and stuff. It definitely works better as a heavy metal ballad. But the acoustic version of "This'll Be the Day" works a lot better than the acoustic version of Time to Say Goodbye. That's on the Volume 3 soundtrack.
Yeah.
But we'll get to the Volume 3 soundtrack next time.
Next time, yeah.
Uh,
Which, unfortunately, we'll be starting with the weakest soundtrack. I mean, there's definitely still a lot of good things about it. There's definitely a lot of good stuff on it, but it's the weakest soundtrack, and it has by far the worst song on any of the soundtracks.
really?
Yeah.
I disagree.
Really? The Sun song?
Yeah. There's actually a song on the Volume 4 soundtrack that I like even less than that.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And you can find out. I'll leave that on a cliffhanger. You can find out what that is next time. Because if you like this video and you want to hear us talk more, just watch our other podcasts, man. We've done like a dozen. We've done dozens of these now.
Done quite a few. Some of them actually have quite a few views on.
Yeah. Hit that like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you think. I personally love going down in the comments and responding to everyone, answering questions.
I usually end up doing that too.
Yeah, I do RWBY videos all the time, or every like other video, not including the podcast. I also have MIS, which the next MIS, no matter how fast I get it done, it's coming out on July 4th.
Nice.
Because it's like an Independence Day special.
What's the one you're doing this time?
It's Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Nice.
And then I also write fanfiction, which we've mentioned a couple times. I do the RWBY On series.
A couple of times.
Yeah.
A couple of times.
The RWBY On series, and also Just Add Casually. Links will be in the description. You can support me on Patreon. You can join our Facebook page, RWBY and Beyond. Get in on the conversation. Maybe even find yourself on the podcast one of these days if you do all this stuff, and we end up liking you.
Yeah, so happened with Kitty and Robert too. Yeah, we've had them on. We just need to up their mic volumes. Both of them, their mics were too low. Because if you want to talk against us, we're actually pretty respectful, but you gotta be able to interrupt us. Okay, that's just kind of how it works.
Yeah, this has been the RWBY and Beyond podcast. That's all I have to plug. Anything you want to plug, dude?
I don't have anything to plug. I used to write a fan fiction, but I wrote a whole RWBY fan fiction just for Renora, and then they ended up doing a really good job with them, so I felt no more motivation for it. So I don't really write that anymore. I am writing a fantasy novel series, sci-fi and fantasy novel series, but that's that's another thing I write.
I also write Guardians of Terra. Again, like, links will be in the description. But to leave you all off, here's a quote that I put on that I came up with that is on my personal Facebook profile right now. To all of my friends who are aspiring writers, just remember, Supernatural, one of the most popular shows on TV, is basically just modern AU fanfiction of Paradise Lost, which in turn is gothic romantic fanfiction of the Bible. So, yeah, if you got a story to tell, tell it, because someone will read it.
Everything's already been done. There's no shame in realizing that and just doing it anyway.
Yeah. The words of wisdom from Mediocrity 4.
Yeah.
Have a good night. Have a safe week. And we'll catch you in a few days with the rest of the soundtracks. Good night.